This week on your favorite podcast, an interview with Navy SEAL Tom Shea. A new campaign I'm starting in 2021. I've already launched it. It's called Fight to Live. And the reason I'm doing any of it is because I got inspired by this Tom Shea. You're going to hear in the interview how we just talked. He's the author of several books. He inspired me to be more focused, and I'm going to share what focus is about. All this and more coming up next. Welcome to a Positive Variety podcast from Reverend Kenn Blanchard. I've been podcasting since 2007, and I've lived, loved, and done some amazing things. Met some and still meeting great people. I plan to share my wisdom, encouragement, and more with you here. Thank you for listening, downloading, and subscribing. Every now and then, you run into somebody who makes a difference. I call them game changers. I've used that term for this podcast, actually. Accidentally, on purpose, somebody that loves me, sent Tom Shea my way. This guy was a catalyst to remind me of some stuff that I had forgot. And it's easy to forget things as you go to and fro, as you struggle, as you try to just live your life. Am I right? You had some goals before 2020 knocked you on your backside. You had some things you wanted to accomplish this year. But as we end this year and you look back, there's some disappointments, there's some frustrations. Or am I just the only one? I want you to join me now in the conversation I had with Tom Shea. And then after that, I'll talk about fight for your life and about focus. And hopefully where I'm going. This is a retired senior chief who served 23 years as a U.S. Navy SEAL. He's the only SEAL in history to endure the infamous Hell Week 5 times after being knocked out 4 times due to illness or injury. He was hand-selected to serve as officer in charge of the famed SEAL Sniper Course. He's what you might call the best of the best. He's a best-selling author of Unbreakable, a Navy SEAL's way of life, and his new release, 3 Simple Things Leading During Chaos. And we're going to talk about some of those points. He retired with distinguished valor, having earned a Silver Star, Bronze Star with Valor, Army Commendation with Valor, and 2 Combat Action Medals. He has a podcast, too, that I want you to check out. It's called Unbreakable. During this interview, I did not do the normal interview thing where you just talk to somebody, ask them a bunch of questions. I probably asked him the same question like 3 times because I wanted clarity. I wanted to dig deep. I wanted him to help me, and he did. Join me now as I talk to Tom Shea on the Kenn Blanchard Show.
Thanks, Ken. I love anything to do with Marines.
Hoorah. Yeah, you guys, I remember the first time I actually paid attention to SEALs, I was not in the Marine Corps. I was actually doing some CIA stuff, and I got a chance to train with, I didn't know it at the time. It was part of Team 6, and we're doing some auto training up in the mountains. And I thought, whoever the hell these guys are, they're pretty squared away. And like, you don't know who they are? And I was like, no. And I got my eyes open to you guys. And I was like, oh, damn, you guys might be tougher than us. I don't know. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Tom, tell me about the new book. You got 2 out, but the latest one.
Well, yeah. So I have to probably talk about the first one because it makes a little more sense if I do that first. I wrote my first book called Unbreakable during combat, and it was a request from my wife to write down stuff I wanted my kids to know about life or about me in case I didn't return.
Good stuff.
But then I returned.
All right.
Great thing. But recently, about a year ago, 7 of us SEALs were sitting around a table talking about life and talking about all our brothers and sisters who were committing suicide. And the question at the table was, what have you left unsaid to the people in your life? And it went around the table and it got to me. I'm like, man, I've designed this training. I've trained 300 people and I haven't told a single soul about it. It's just me teaching other people. It would probably be a travesty if I died or something happened to me and that information didn't get out. So the book, 3 Simple Things, is a curriculum-based book that I have designed to teach leaders how to lead during chaos.
Oh, wow. How's the sales been so far?
The year was weird. We launched right at the beginning of the the shutdown and Amazon shut down and Barnes and Noble laid off everybody. But besides that, it's been remarkably good.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to help that most definitely here shortly. So Unbreakable was the first, and you even have an audio book for that too as well.
Yeah, both of them have audio now.
Yeah, that might be the way to go. Just because not only am I trying to become the next great voice actor, but folks don't have time to read, which is like a whole different dynamic by itself. So Unbreakable, it's a way of life. It's a memoir that's kind of set with some lessons on how to lead a more productive life. And then the second one.
Yeah, it was what I found in teaching leaders and top people and even anybody. So it's like anybody willing to go through a year-long training. I learned more about the human being in the past 7 years than I had thought I'd learned in the SEAL teams. And what I found out is what I now say, 3 simple things. If you can do 3 things, then you win. And like, for instance, if you can work out for an hour a day, every day that ends in Y, that's one of the 3 simple things that's in health. The other one is if you can stretch for 20 minutes. And the third one's if you can drink 10 glasses of water, you are a super athlete. And it seems simple, but man, is it difficult. So that's one of the things I teach in the book. And I show clients how to make things simple during very challenging, chaotic times.
Wow. Chaos is, some people are complaining about right now about the COVID. This is unbearable that they can't take it. What tips do you got for the regular person who never served but thinks that this right now is a tough time?
Don't pay, you may, because your experience and other veterans may hear this, and I think everybody has this in their background. This will pass.
Yes, sir.
And it's not as bad as leaders say that it is. Like life never is as bad as the top people think that it is. Man, turn off your phone, turn off the rhetoric, and go, even though it seems dangerous, go hang out with your friends and take care of yourself. And you're not going to die from this.
This too shall pass. For a guy who's been through 23 years of serving his country, been through some scraps, you continue to kind of motivate people though, right? Still, even now.
Yeah, I love the idea that humans can do more than they think possible. And that's why I got in the SEAL teams. I wanted to be more. I wanted to be more than my excuses that I'd had at that age. And spent 23 years with some of the greatest people that the world has ever known, and some of the worst environments that the world has ever known. And I don't know if I call it, I like to motivate people. I just like to hang out with people that want more.
I hear that. Wow. So we have a time period where people are caught up and not quite sure, and then they're calling it chaos, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. You're saying it's not as bad as it has to be, not as bad as it looks, that they should be digging in and enjoying life and taking inventory of things that they have. This almost sounds like a religion, like a faith thing. Like it's deeper than just transparency. It's deeper than what?
Well, I don't think you can take religion from greatness, whatever religion you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question. I haven't been fielded that one before. I think there are basic things that you can do every day. And that's what the book was about, or is about. There are 5 areas that every human anywhere in the world has. Their health, obviously, is what I talked about before. Their ability to learn is the second area. The third area is the pursuit of wealth or pursuit of value. And then oddly, even during chaos, you have to have these. The fourth area is the people that you relate to, especially the ones at home. And the fifth area that is always overlooked, unless you've been at war, is spiritual. And those 5 areas, you have to articulate them well during chaos and during crisis, Otherwise, you'll be overwhelmed.
Yeah. Got to dig into something deeper than yourself. For some veterans in high speed, low drag things, it's the camaraderie is the essence of who you are. You find out who you are, what you're made of. That's sometimes what struggle does, though. Doesn't it bring us closer to what we really are and kind of dispels the myths of what we're not? When you know what you are, you can go further.
You can definitely find out who you are not.
Right.
That's one of the keys. I swear that is the key to to being wise, is realizing what you are not.
Mm-hmm.
And in combat, you find out very quickly there are a lot of knots that you are not.
Yeah.
And I have not come to the realization of exactly who I am yet, but I have a list of things that I am not for sure.
Yeah, and that makes you stronger in itself. I know when you're in a group, sometimes people give you a name or a label, and you live with that name. And it's empowering sometimes because you know that what you're not. Even though some people think it's a belittling sometimes, or they call you one thing, but it's also empowering to know who you are.
Yep.
And what you can contribute. People are counting on you. And that is a focus, a power by itself. That can make you unbreakable.
Yep. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just thinking, in some of the things that's happened to you, how can you kind of share how that made you better?
Yeah. One of the interesting things that happened to me, it happened second time, I guess. The first time I had failed out at West Point, which I thought was significant. But
what?
I went to West Point for 3 years and failed out. And I hit my first rock bottom. I thought it was the end of the world. It wasn't. And from that point, I had a guy that had been a SEAL, even though it wasn't called SEAL, in World War II. He was the first guy to put feet on sand on Iwo Jima about 5 hours before the invasion.
Wow.
And I grew up with him. And when I had failed out of West Point, he asked me the simple question called, "Hey, you're at the bottom. Can't get any worse. What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Man, I've always wanted to be a SEAL." And he goes, "Well, why don't you do it?" He goes, "Well, no." I said, "Well, nobody supports me doing it. My dad doesn't want me to do it. My mom definitely not. And I don't know how to swim." And he goes, "So commit to it." And that was a big, big thing that I kind of brush over it there, but commit without having the ability to execute on it became a center point of my life. And so I committed. I went and signed up directly to the SEAL program and showed up and didn't make it. I'm the only guy in history to go but into 5 hell weeks and not make it. And I got kicked out of the program for 9 months and had to come back. And when I finally made it through, I learned that simplicity wins everything. And I'd made things complicated in my mind and had lived a world of excuses, and it came back to haunt me until I made things simple.
Failure didn't take you out. I mean, you just kept pushing. How did that happen?
Oh, it felt like it took me out. It didn't take me down to the point where I'd never think of suicide. I probably should after all the combat that I've had. But I had the exquisite, I don't know if that's the right word, but I had the luxury of hanging out with guys who had been through hard times, like the guys that had been SEALs. And they're like, "Man, it's no big deal. You're not dead."
I know, right?
And I'm like, man, I've never heard anybody say that. And it's a topic now that you don't hear very often. People try, they fail, then they get a bailout, and they never get to build themselves back up and look for some higher cause to help them. But I had that at a young age, and I finally put it all together and completed SEAL training.
That UDT guy from the beginning, how'd you meet him?
He had been my dad's he had gone from the Navy and eventually ended up in the Army in the Green Beret, and he was my dad's captain.
Oh, he was hardcore too.
Yeah.
That's all right there. So, hailing from West Point, some people think get knocked down and You're not supposed to be in that realm. What made you want to keep pushing on?
At the bottom becomes a level of clarity, and I take every client through a bottom experience, and I've got this. It's a truth. When you're actually at bottom, you get a level of clarity, and one of the points of clarity that I had was that I really wanted to be physical and outside. And the problem was there's not a lot of opportunity in the world to do that. And so then I had to find those opportunities. And I'd always wanted to be a warrior in my mind. And as I played all those scenarios out, it was either go back in the Army, but I felt a little betrayed by the Army at that point. And so the thing that was always there for me was to be a SEAL. Wow. And I thought that's got to be the hardest. It can't get any worse, man. All I could do is fail again, but it can't get any worse than this situation that I had found myself in. And a lot of people find themselves there now. And all they have to do is once get clear in your brain where you're going and then go there and don't look up.
Don't look up.
Don't look up. Put your head down and go. And that's a hard thing for people to do because the more options we have, the less successful we are. Kill off everything that is going to prevent you from being that person. Sad thing to say, but it's a truth.
No, because you said the simplicity wins. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep. That's always why we like the Marines, because it was so simple. We're going to war. Hey, they're going. Can we tag along with you guys? Because you're always going to get in a firefight. And it was always simple. And they always loved us being tag-alongs.
It's true. It's true. Man, you just said something right there. Okay, so it's not hard. It's being focused. It's not options. Options can weigh you down. What's another thing that can help us when you're thinking that you're on the rock bottom and you need to keep moving?
It's difficult to say as a warrior in the religious space because it doesn't sound that way. And the reason why I say it that way is to preface it. The fact that you're not dead means that you're ready for more, and that whatever God that you believe in has something else in store. If you were dead, it would be over. And the fact that you're not means there's more. And I always take heart to that concept that if I'm not dead, there's always another option. I just got to not get down on myself or let other people get down just because things are turning poor.
Yeah, my mantra for this last couple of months has been, it ain't too late.
Yeah.
No matter what, it ain't too late.
And chaos produces awesome upsides, unpredictable. Like more wealth is designed out of chaos, and more greatness comes from disruptive events than steady events, for sure.
Explain that. How does opportunity happen? How does things happen in chaos?
In the business world, a couple of my partners are turnaround guys, where they go buy companies that are in distress and turn them around, which is the epitome of chaos. Like things aren't going well. They go in there and they cut off everything that doesn't work and then go get people involved in it. They're like the human solution. They go find people who want to turn something around. So that's in the business sense. In the spiritual sense, it's hard to say it this way, but from darkness comes light.
Always.
If it's already light, you don't see the light anymore. But when it's dark, even a flicker becomes very keen. And that is the key. That's the chaos key, is you got to keep looking for those small flickers, and then you got to put your head down.
Only in the darkness can you find the stars.
Yep, it's true.
Man, that's some good stuff right there. That'll preach. That's my mentor would say. So you're moving from chaos to you got a purpose now. You're moving a little bit closer. How do you tie that in with your physicalness, the health part to take care of you?
I call this situation not negotiable. And I'll try to explain it quickly. What I have found to be true in anybody who wants to be successful in life is it takes 6 hours a day of not negotiable activity to be successful. And I'll spell it out. I tried to spell it out in the book, but maybe my editor didn't make it as clear. So the first thing that you do, you got to do 3 things in the morning and 3 things at night, and they're not negotiable. It's what I call 30 minutes of spiritual time, 15 in the morning, 15 at night. So 5 minutes in the morning, you have to turn on your senses because you're the conduit in which spirituality can be expressed. But if the body don't work and ain't moving, your senses ain't moving, you're not going to be able to articulate that. So it's a sensory awakening that is very easy to learn. Like all 5 senses, you get to turn them on in the morning. Then you have to actually move every muscle and joint in the morning and at night, same thing. And then you have to either pray, meditate, or declare yourself that morning or night. So those 3 simple things. And then immediately you have to, the key to it all is the spiritual, but the second part is the relational. And these 3 simple things in relationship, you do also morning and night. They're the most hard for everybody that I've ever trained. And when you hear them, you're going to laugh. The first thing that you do is you have to spend 10 minutes a day listening to your spouse. And then you have to spend 10 minutes a day speaking committedly to your spouse or lover, either one. And then you have to have 10 minutes of intimacy every day that ends in Y. So those 3 simple things in relationship are foundational. And I've found that I have not seen one human being do it. They excuse themselves from doing that. They actually excuse themselves from doing the spiritual time too. So that's only an hour. So 3 simple things in spiritual, 3 in relational, only takes an hour out of your day, and it will make the biggest impact in your life that will transcend anything that you do for the rest of the day. But you need to be in action. So the third thing that you do is you have to work out for a day. Every single day for the rest of your life, you have to move for an hour. If you're hurt, it doesn't matter. You got to find a way to move your body relative to what you're committed to. Runners run, swimmers swim, bikers bike, that relative, activity. And then you got to stretch. It's the second part is the hardest things for human beings to stay limber and stretch. And then drink. Hydrate is the key to health, not food. It's hydration. And then you got to learn 3 simple things a day in the learning aspect. You got to learn something new every day. Then you got to get better at something that you've already learned every day. And then you have to let yourself dream every day. So now we're only up to 3 hours. So the final 3 simple things is in wealth. This also will make everybody that does it very wealthy. You have to spend an hour a day fighting to get in front of somebody new. You call that sales or whatever you want to call it. The second part is whoever's an existing client of yours, you have to spend an hour dealing with an existing client. It could be multiple, but you have to dedicate an hour to dealing with existing people in your life that you value. And then you have to think strategically for an hour. So those, what I call a 6-hour non-negotiable baseline that for some reason takes a year for most clients to achieve that baseline. When they do that, whatever they commit to happens. And it's just 6 hours. CEOs actually love me because they have a 3-hour workday and then they go home.
Wow, that thing was broken down. Doggone SEALs be doing stuff. Good job, Tom. And where's this?
My simple mind had to figure it out that way because I can only hold 3 things in my thoughts at one time.
Where's this found out? This is in the book, right?
Yeah, it's in the book. It's what in my brain, it's clearly in the book, and it steps through how I came to those realizations and articulates some of the clients that I was working with and how they help realize those points, and it proves it out per client in the book.
3 Simple Things Leading During Chaos, available on Amazon, book by Tom Shea. And you just, oh man, this is good stuff right here, dude. Yeah. I'm sitting here going, This is like when I was talking to somebody one time, and you go for one reason, but you come back with a whole different thing. You've just done that for me. Sometimes you talk to people and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to do this interview. I'm just going to talk to this guy. But it is deeper than that. You hit some points that I needed to hear. So it was timely for me personally, because I want to do better.
Yeah. Yep.
How can folks find you? How can folks reach you? How can we learn more about Tom Shea after we get the books?
We, my partners and I, created a company called Unbreakable Leadership. Mm-hmm. And that's how you find us, unbreakableleadership.com. And if you're like me, you can't spell that very well. So THOMSHEA.com is another way, links to the same spot. And we're really active in social media on Facebook, Tom Shea, and on Twitter, because the greatest thing is the human connection. And our goal this year is to touch 1,000 people with our training that we've produced.
Yeah. Part of your points, what you're building with wealth too. And also in your daily thing is relationships. Good stuff. Tom Shea, thank you, man. Thank you for taking time out to talk to a Marine, to explain it to me, to make it easy, and to motivate me again, inspire me to do better. 3 Simple Things Leading During Chaos, and Unbreakable. I'm talking to Tom Shea, Navy SEAL. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Ken.
All right. I cut it off right there because he and I started like having a bro moment, and I just realized that I'm going to talk to this dude again. I didn't want to give you all the extra stuff, but he's the real deal. I'm going to have links to his books in the show notes that you can check out on Amazon. One of the things he mentioned was about focus, how if you have the opportunity to do too many things, you do nothing right. I'm going to focus a little bit more on doing what makes me happy. Now, that sounds real good, right? Everybody should be doing that. But one of the things that makes me happy at this stage of my life is making sure that everybody else is okay. And some of the stuff that I do, firearms instruction, for example, doesn't make me happy. It's cool right now. It was cool 25 years ago when I first started as an instructor. I want to go more and do more than that. Focus can change your life dramatically. When you focus on your life to make it better, it will start to get better eventually. Life changes when you decide to change it. Now, this time of year, we talk about Christmas and holidays and Hanukkah and all the seasonal things. And then right after that, we start hitting our, yearly resolutions and stuff. I'm starting now. See, when you focus on problems, you'll have more problems. But when you focus on possibilities, you'll have more opportunities. I know there's some things that I want to accomplish, and I can do that if I just focus. Focus expands your knowledge. It'll help you expand your intelligence. When you start focusing on learning, your knowledge will expand eventually. When you focus on learning new things every day, when you make learning a priority, nothing can stop you. That's some good stuff right there, right? Remember, it helps change your life. It gives you more opportunities. It expands your knowledge. It helps you become more productive at work. Focus will help you achieve your goals, and it will help you become successful faster. And then finally, my last thing I want to share with you is that Tom reminded me of one of the things that's important to me, helping other people. I've done some great stuff on this podcast and forum. I've been recognized and seen things and had good numbers. But the best thing that's ever happened to me is when I talked to somebody on one-on-one and helped save their life. There's a lot of people out here suffering for one thing or another, suffering in silence. So I'm creating this campaign called Fighting for Your Life. It's a campaign basically that says that suicide is not the answer for you. That if you're thinking that ending your life will stop the pain, that you're wrong. That if you think that you'll be missed or you won't be missed and the world will be better off without you, that you're wrong. I'm going to make sure that I take all those people who listen to this show and all my platforms. Because if you're watching or listening to me, you're a fighter, a warrior, because that's who I roll with. The kind of folks that I hang out with, the folks who listen to this show, the folks who pay attention to Black Man with a Gun or any of my shows have heart. If they saw me fall in a firefight, they'd come and get me. When I'm watching them fight themselves and they get knocked down, they always get back up. But for some reason, when they start fighting those demons in their head, they give up. And I'm going to make you fight for your life. And I will fight you if you make me. But I'm going to make myself available with Speak Life Church, which has been going great. I mean, really, really good as a spiritual connection, as a church without walls. But there's a point that I want to up the game and reach out to all the warriors and the fighters and be the battlefield chaplain that they need. So if somebody needs to vent, to talk, to pray, they can call me. Got my number out there, 202-579-9435. You can email me back and I'll be there. And it's one of those cases where I don't care if it's funded or not. I don't care if it gets any accolades or not. I'm just there to help the one that calls, that reaches out, so I can help fight for your life. That is my mission. What is that? It's a way you can support this show.
Glow.fm/Kenn Blanchard.
Wow. Glow.fm/Kenn Blanchard. The link will be in the show notes. All right, don't forget that I'm having links in the show notes. I'm going to actually post something on blackmanwiththegun.com referring back to this episode because I want the maximum amount of attention and eyeballs on this podcast. And I need your help as I grow my social media influence. I got a new link on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to it and keep track of your friend and your brother from another mother. I am Reverend Kenn Blanchard. And just in case nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Until the next time. Shalom, baby. Well, that's it for this week. If you like what you heard, please tell somebody. If you want to keep the show going, become a subscriber at glow.fm/Kenn Blanchard.